CMMS Radio talks about all things CMMS, computerized maintenance management software, focused on maintenance management. It's the people, the process, and the culture that make your CMMS journey a success. All right, folks, you see these two cats on screen. We have got Sebastian Traeger. He's managing director of Reliability.com, EasyRCA, and ProAct. Plus, we have Jerid Jackson. He is Reliability and Asset Management Senior Manager at Frito-Lay. You know, PepsiCo. Gentlemen, welcome to CMMS Radio.
Thank you. How are you?
Good to be here.
I'm good, man. And the reason we're doing this is we got some big stuff going on at Reliable Plant 2026. The conference is June 15th through 18th in Reno, Tahoe, Nevada. And just for anybody that wants to get there and see the session we're about to jump in and talk about, you can go to Reliable Plant Conference. Conference.reliableplant.com and use the checkout code CMMS10. You get yourself 10% off because you're not going to want to miss this. So with Frito-Lay, they've got multiple sites, and with Reliability.com and the EasyRCA, there's a story to be told here, and it's really about scaling root cause analysis. Whether you really truly understand root cause analysis or not, this still has a lot of practical applicability for any of you dealing with these environments, including a single site, because what they've done is taken on these challenges of, say, for example, having a way to move forward with less reliance on tribal knowledge and so forth. The session is going to walk you through how Frito-Lay designed and implemented a repeatable RCA framework. And I'm going to stop right there. It's at multiple sites. It's practically 50 different locations. It's real stuff. So first, Sebastian, can you give us a little synopsis about how you guys are going to present this, why this matters for people that are going to be at Reliable Plant, and a little bit on like how long this took?
Sure. Yeah, I think why we think this is helpful, I'll start there. One of the hardest things to do in any software product is to get adoption, right? Rollout. So it's hard to select software. It's hard to get it procured, get it through security, and that sort of thing. But I think the most difficult thing is actually having a solution that people want to use. And so to me, the best part of this story is how Jerid and his team have worked hard to get software implemented. I think that's a lesson that whether you're interested in root cause software or something else, that is something that is, I think, critical to learn if you're going to roll out a program across multiple plants.
Yeah. So Jerid, can you give us some insight as to your experience? Because there's a couple perspectives here that I'm interested in that may or may not relate to the session itself. One of those is what your customer journey experience was like working with the team, Sebastian and his team, to design this. And then where and how did you start to see it starting to take hold, right? Because you've obviously had success with adoption, which I think all of us in the industry think if you have that and frontlines getting in there and they're all about it and they're not hemming and hawing, oh man, 82 clicks, that's where the rubber meets the road. And that's not meant to be cliche. If they're bought in and they're adopted, man, you got opportunity to really improve. So talk to us a little bit about that experience and when you noticed it turning that corner.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it obviously helps when you've got a good product to start with, right? So, and then the team there and the way that they worked with us to scale it up, started out with some trials, prototype type work and getting it out in front of people. And, early on, the ones that were already doing some form of root cause analysis, jumped on it pretty quick. Somebody who wasn't doing it at all, maybe it's a little harder to get them to use the software. It seemed like, to them it was something extra, and it was different than what they had been using in the past. I'll say that the software, you have a lot of flexibility in what you require them to put in and what's not, so they can get as detailed as they need to or use it as simply as they need to too. So there was no obstacles to them using it. And then if I try to think of a period or something that happened that really kind of made us turn a corner. I really think the start of some of the AI integration in there helped.
Hmm.
The tool starts to suggest some nodes and things like that, even suggest corrective actions. And not only does that make the analysis go smoother and a little quicker, I think it helped people really understand how to keep driving down to the multiple layers. I think before we did analysis very flat. We went a layer or two deep and stopped with sort of a solution that's on the surface. And the AI stuff helped us understand what it meant to get down to a systemic root cause. So
That's interesting to me because I really, when you said that it kind of is flat, that is actually an improvement. But when you can go a little bit deeper, get a little bit more nuanced, then it really helps. And back to you, Sebastian, and I think it really helps that you're dealing with reliability professionals as opposed to, oh, we're going to build technology to solve a problem. I'm not saying that doesn't work, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that they don't get that kind of resource available to help them. But Sebastian, with you and your team, I mean, it's not like you're looking for a needle in a haystack. You know typically where the needle is going to be. You know how to connect how the solution works with the AI so that maybe it's a little less, hey, we got AI, but more like we've built technology into our platform that actually leverages the right data with the right guardrails to make an impact. And it's not just a bunch of nonsense pulled from the internet. Is that a fair statement as to how you built it?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I mean, we see that, there's different positions on what AI is going to do. Some people say, oh, it's going to take over jobs. It's going to replace everybody. Other people say, it's maybe fearful of it. No, we need all that experience. We can't use it. I mean, our position is the absolute best scenario is putting AI, putting tools in the hands of people who know what they're doing. It's only going to make them better at what they do. And so we already had a platform that was able to help walk people through root cause analysis in a very systematic way so that you could follow a known pathway from an event that happened all the way down to what do I do about it with great assurance. Of course, the challenge there is if somebody doesn't have a lot of experience doing a root cause analysis and they're just looking at a blank sheet of paper, there's still some fear there in how to move forward. And so we had this really good framework already. We knew that kind of experts could walk through it. And now by giving people AI to help them, it's like having a coach with them at all times to kind of help them walk through step by step. So I'm not surprised that that's really helped adoption there.
Well, and Jerid, I think it's pretty obvious with your maintenance teams and the people involved and management where, I mean, you're sitting at that level now. I'm assuming that you kind of came up, cut your teeth over the years and kind of got up here. So you get to take that understanding of what it's like to be on the shop floor, on the factory floor, on a rooftop, whatever it is you're dealing with, right? You get that and you get to carry that with you. But this also, if you're getting that kind of adoption and you're going across nearly 50 locations with some standardization and people that can now follow those practices being guided by the technology, you start to see impacts maybe a little bit sooner than you normally would when you have to kind of backfill that in. So if the AI is built properly, the machine learning, right, then you get that guidance you can trust. That's the part where I'm always freaking out about AI is like, cool, let's do cool stuff with data. Let's figure things out, but let's be real careful because, there's people all over the internet pretending like they know stuff, and AI pretends like it knows stuff all the time. So you got to be careful. Do you have practices within your organization where you kind of keep an eye on it and do some verification periodically? Like, yep, that's accurate. Yep, I've seen that before. Yes, I know what that is. That's good. I'm comfortable with that being in my team's hands.
Yeah, I don't think we have a formal process necessarily to do that or to kind of follow up and check back. We did have to go through internally. We have a whole AI committee, to make sure that everything's covered and we're taking care of our stewardship of information and all that kind of good stuff too. So we had to run it through that group. I think it's good enough to say or should say that the AI and the tool, if you don't like what it puts there, it's very easy to delete it or edit it and change it. And then it's very clear with the recent upgrade that they've done very clear which one was purely an AI suggestion versus something that you've taken and modified or you put in yourself. So it's really easy to keep track of what was, user inputs versus the AI. So you can see that very easily and see if something might have been a little off. It's easy to check if you want to. So
yeah, the reason I brought it up that way is I try to tell everyone we kind of rely on things and then we start to take them for granted, and we let some of those, I guess we could call them best practices of monitoring what we do and how we do it. Sorry about that noise. I forgot to mute my phone. The whole thing is, we know what maintenance is. Maintenance is a specific activity to protect those assets, and that contributes to reliability. Your root cause analysis is going to help you better understand where and how these failures really presented themselves. And ultimately, you probably want to get to a more predictive state. And that's not the easiest thing in the world. Everybody's talking about how easy that is, and it's not. It's difficult. It requires a certain type of behavior. So I'm going to switch it back to you, Sebastian. Now, when this technology is being leveraged, and I can't wait for the story at Reliable Plant. It's going to be a really good story, because I know every year I've been there, there's at least a nice handful of guys from Frito-Lay. I think I've seen them every year, and it's good to hear it from the customer. But Sebastian, is this technology running independent of a CMMS, an EAM, or whatever, or can it, or does it communicate?
Yeah, great question. We've built it so that it can integrate with really any CMMS or system that people want. I mean, we've made it, it can be as unsophisticated as I just want some Excel files and I'll look at them on my own, up to, we've got an SAP integration happening as well, and everything in between with other CMMSs. And I think that's the real power of the system. We also, at least from a reporting perspective, port a lot of data into Power BI, because we always talk about technology and we say it's got to be easy for the user. So when we talk about the person doing an RCA, if they're not doing them, if they don't find the software intuitive, if it's not easy to complete, well, then they're not going to do it. But the positive is if they do it, that also, not only do they solve that RCA, create the corrective actions, hopefully solve the problem, but there's also a byproduct of that work is data. And so that data can flow up to where you can see across an entire organization of all the different, RCAs happening across the globe, really, and be able to start to really problem solve. And this, I think, how you can really start to get proactive is you can see we're having similar problems on similar lines or similar pieces of equipment in multiple plants. And now all of a sudden, something like that can become worth doing a root cause analysis on. So yeah, to answer your very direct question, we do integrate. And then I think some of the power is not just in that integration, but in, again, seeing the scope across an organization.
That's true. I agree. And different people within the organization are going to look at and leverage those data sets, if you will. This stuff is nowhere near as complicated as people like to make it, technology and all that. But when you can start to see that trending, it really does give you additional breadcrumbs. And that's why I'm like, when it comes to CMMS, EAM, and all these things, they're tools. They're great tools when used properly with the right behaviors. They can sometimes influence that, make things a little bit easier, and people start to buy in. But it's based on this idea of foundational excellence in maintenance. And I'm curious, Jerid, I don't know if you're allowed to say what CMMS you use. You don't have to, but are you using both EasyRCA and a CMMS together, or do they kind of run separate? I'm just curious.
Yeah, we use SAP. I don't think it's a secret, and we do it globally. So that's very recently, within the last few years, we've gone to it across the board to have a single CMMS, single source of info, and all. Right now, they don't do a whole lot of integration. We have sent some data back and forth manually, and then that's another thing I was going to mention about the team there, EasyRCA folks. It is a great software, but it's those folks there, people there that have worked with us to do things, and we have a quarterly meeting with them, to talk about what they're seeing in the data. And now we're looking at trying to automate that data and things, and their willingness to do the training for us and help us know what to go look for and all too. So yes, good software, but a lot of the training and back and forth, and then they've worked with us all along the way to make a few little changes and then to help us get more and more integrated. So I see it integrating more with not only our CMMS, but even our downtime tracking internal software as well.
That's all good stuff, because no matter what the tools are, it's the people behind the tools that are going to help you turn the corner, or they have to have reliable, consistent, and in my opinion, very high integrity practitioners that are getting involved. Maybe they come in and help you figure a couple things out because they might not have the bandwidth. Because when companies grow, much like the one you're at, right? We're talking like that's a whole different animal, right? It's like monstrous growth, global company. You're kind of one of the companies that I think people look to see what you're doing, what's working, because that gives them confidence. And a lot of companies at true enterprise level, they're either using SAP or one of the, similar competitors that can get to that true enterprise. I don't know if I want to call it stack or functionality. It's kind of a little bit of both. But systems that don't directly communicate, that is not the end of the world. In fact, with the right people behind a system, you could have a not so great piece of technology that works just fine. I talk to people about it all the time, and they'll say, well, I can make anything work because I know what it is, how to figure it out, right? But sometimes that sucks up a lot of time. So now, in the interest of you not sharing everything about the session that's going to happen at Reliable Plant, I'm really looking forward to it. If I'm not busy, I'm going to try to sneak into it. I shouldn't say sneak, but see if I can maybe get some footage. If not, we'll get something on site, maybe chop it up some, get 10, 15 minutes together if you're open to that. But if you don't mind, Sebastian, I would like Jerid to go through the torture chamber of the fun question segment, if you're cool with it.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. Sebastian's already been through this, Jerid. So this is for you. No wrong answers. It's just a bunch of fun, a way to get to know you, and it's kind of cool stuff to talk about. So first question, you ready?
Jerid's a very interesting person, so he's going to do great on this. You're going to learn a lot.
All right, let's go. What is your favorite music?
Oh, man, I like everything, but probably I like old country. Grew up with it, I guess.
Nice. Yeah. That's good stuff. Second question. Remember, no wrong answers. What's your favorite sport or hobby? And on sport, it doesn't have to be one you play. It could be one you like to watch and cheer for.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm a Texas A&M Aggie, so Aggie football is at the top of the list of sports. But I don't think anything overtakes my hobby, which is these old cars and stuff. I grew up in an automotive shop, and I've had the same 67 Nova since I was 13 years old. So that's hard to top that one.
That's you can't top that. You could only get other stuff that's just as cool, right?
That's right.
So that I love that, because I'm kind of a car guy. I'm not a wrench head really, maybe when I was a kid, but love cars, hot rods. If they're fast, I like them. If they're slow, if they can climb stuff or smash stuff, I love that. Yeah. Here's the big one, man. What is your philosophy, perspective? Is it even a thing when it comes to this idea of work-life balance?
Well, I mean, I think the cliche answer is always, if you enjoy what you do, it's never work, right?
Yeah.
But that's probably why I haven't taken on this car hobby as work, because I'm afraid I would get burnt out with it and lose the lure to it and the benefit of it. But I do think PepsiCo, you mentioned it earlier. I think the company is concerned with that. I just took a survey earlier today that asked employees, how we thought that worked out and how it was, seeking input from employees. So, and then, this is my first headquarters type role. So work from home a good bit and travel a good bit. So, my schedules are kind of different, but it does allow for me to have better work-life balance. So,
you're out here. You're out here going places and getting out on the shop floor and getting with your people. And
sure, yeah.
That's not a fun question thing. I'm just turning the corner here back to what we were talking about. That's the kind of stuff that has to happen. It's not a question of whether you work remote or at HQ. It's that you get to the different sites and you get involved with everybody, really from the shop floor all the way up to the boardroom, and you're thus putting your finger on the pulse. It sounds like you make a regular habit of checking in with your folks and letting them know, hey, you got a voice. I want to hear it. And
you bet.
I love that stuff. Well, gentlemen, Sebastian Traeger, Jerid Jackson, thank you for being here with me on CMMS Radio. Everybody, come and see these guys give this presentation. It's nice to hear from vendors and experts, but it's even better to hear from clients that are thriving, not only with technology, but with leveraging best practices real. And that's what we want to hear. So go check them out. Go to Reliable Plant. You can go to conference.reliableplant.com, plug in the code CMMS10, get you 10% off. Get to Reno, Tahoe, Nevada, and hang out with these guys. Check out that session, and we'll see you there, fellas. Thanks for being on CMMS Radio.
Thanks so much, Greg. Yeah, we look forward to seeing you as well. Take care.
Yeah, you too. Did you find this episode helpful? Please send us some feedback, suggest a topic, or ask a question. Reach out to CMMS Radio if you need a co-pilot on your CMMS project. Visit CMMSradio.com and use the What's on Your Mind link. Thank you for tuning in to CMMS Radio, your resource for all things CMMS, from selection to implementation, to help you make better choices, learn from industry experts, and have a successful CMMS journey.